How's it going, guys? Andy here and welcome back to another video. In this one I want to give you a bit of a quick look around my potting shed. One of my subscribers, Iceman I think his name is, on YouTube, asked if we can have a bit of a tour of the potting shed, which I'm happy to do. It's not very big, so I don't think it will take too long, but if you're interested, I'm going to give you a bit of a look around. It was actually built by the previous owner of this property, who was a builder, and I believe he built it out of reclaimed material. So it's got a proper tiled roof, which is really cute. It's got a front door for the door, and these windows behind are Georgian style windows. I don't know how old they are originally, but yeah, they're probably at least 60 or 70 years old. The house has been here about 40 years, and certainly they would predate that, but I think it looks cute, and I hope you enjoy a quick look around at my potting shed. Okay, let's go.
Take it all back, hate the things that you said, cause I wish you didn't mean it. I'm under attack, running far, far away, and I'd rather keep my distance from you. You don't gotta lie to me to get through. Push and pull me off into the deep, and let's pretend that nothing ever happened on that night. I shouldn't have spoke, cause you didn't feel the same way about me, and it's eating me alive all of the time. So I'd rather keep my distance from you. You don't gotta lie to me to get through. Push and pull me off into the deep, and let's pretend that nothing ever happened on that night.
So these windows are pretty handy actually, because they don't ever get direct sun into them. The sun spends a lot of the time above, hitting the roof, and then in the afternoon it will come around and shine through these windows, but they are slightly opaqued anyway, so it diffuses it a bit. It does get very warm in the summer afternoons in here, but the plants seem to be happy enough, and most of them stay outside anyway. There's not that many that stay in here permanently. It's more of a stopping point from going into the garden or into the house. So yeah, as you can see, the ceiling is tongue and groove pine strips. It's wood construction all the way through, and the floor is a very solid marine ply floor as well, so it has been very well constructed. Not insulated, which means it's freezing cold in the winter and boiling hot in the summer, but otherwise you know, it's a pretty solid construction. It's got this really sweet little sort of 60s style lampshade on there as well, which is really cute. And yeah, I've put in a full electric board here because I was a little bit worried about the electrics. So it has all its own proper trips and everything. And here we have the fish food for the pond outside, the watering can. I quite often fill this up from the pond water, which is full of really good nutrients, and none of the hard water that we have from the tap here. Unfortunately, we have very hard water here, this part of the UK, so it's great water to use on the plants. This is one of these planting troughs, which is designed for you to put your pots here and do repotting and things like this, so it keeps it all enclosed. But as you've seen from other videos, I end up just doing it on the bench here and making a mess, but it's what it's here for. So the bench itself, in homage to Jeff Bezos, is actually an old door that I had hanging around for a few years and thought that actually looks about the right size to go in my potting shed. So yes, the bench itself is made out of an old door, and my carpentry skills put to full use there. Not, because it's a little bit wonky, but it works, and it's more or less flat. So there you go, that's how that's made up. And yeah, just random bits of stuff hanging around. Got my tools here. This is actually an asparagus knife for cutting asparagus at the base, but it's actually just a really handy general purpose knife. The serrations are really decent for just cutting anything, string, bags of compost open, whatever, so that's a handy knife. I've got these tiny little snippers which are great for bonsai, cutting out small branches and things like that. Really handy, really nice. You wouldn't want to use them on anything thick because you damage the blades, but for fine work, really handy, and they're so cheap. I'll put a link in the description if I can find them. They're literally just a few pounds and really handy little things. Then I have my general go-to everyday pair of secateurs, which is Felco. I think as good as you can get for a pair of secateurs, in my opinion. This is the, don't know if that will focus. This is the Felco 2, Swiss made, very good quality. You know, it will last you forever. Effectively a little bit more expensive than the normal ones, but they'll last forever. You can just resharpen them and they keep going and going. So that's that. A pair of generic secateurs. I think these are Wilkinson Sword originally. I inherited these when I had my allotment a few years ago. They were in the little shed that was in there, so I ended up with them. Again, a backup pair, I suppose, if I put these down somewhere. I've got these, but these are much sharper, much more precise blades. So yeah, that's my tools. I've got a penknife down here for general messing around. And then the usual sort of thing. Some Incredibloom fertilizer for flowering plants. I've got some fertilizer for fruiting plants, fruit and veg. Some organic rooting powder for taking cuttings. And other such stuff. Alrighty, currently in the potting shed we have the bromelias that I have just finished repotting on my last video. Check out my last video to see those. I've got a few different things hanging around. I've got a massive agave that I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with. It's a bit of a beast and I don't really have space for it, so it's just staying there at the moment. I've got some French beans at the back there as well that just getting some coming up now, which is good. These guys are just about to go into some pots as well. They're just potting them on, but they're pretty much ready to go now. Another one over here. This is the phlox that I had sent through on a different unboxing video. That's ready to go out. I've got some Echeveria in here as well. This is Echeveria Pearl von Nuremberg. That is growing in this pot here. Another Pearl von Nuremberg at the back. A golden pathos as well, which I love the colours of that. I'm still not sure whether that's a golden pathos or a neon pathos. It might be that the new juvenile foliage is really super lime green and it will actually calm down and go a bit more yellowy, but I love that lime green colour on this plant. I think it's stunning, and when it grows a bit and starts to get some longer vines, I shall put it in a hanging basket and probably put one in my office and maybe one somewhere else in my living space because I love them. Up here, another Echeveria growing nicely out of its pot, which looks pretty cool. That is Big Red, I think, which is another one here. I've just put in front of the window because it was kind of growing to one side up there, so I was just giving him a bit of extra light so he can balance himself out. There is the other angle camera that I've put up there for now. Hopefully that should work out quite nicely so you can see what I'm doing when I'm on the bench. Don't judge me, that is a bonsai tree. Loosely speaking, it's not the best, but let's bring him down and I'll show you. I'll explain about this. I like bonsai trees, okay, and I wouldn't really class this as a bonsai tree. I was sent it. I'm not going to say who sent it to me because, quite frankly, I would struggle to give you an honest review of this without them not particularly liking it. So, you know, I'm not doing a review really of it. The retail price for this is something like £16 or £18, which is a lot of money for what is essentially a twig and a pot. If you look around the back here, the way these are mass produced in China, they're grown on, this is a privet by the way, so which is a type of hedge. It's a hedging plant, and they put them in the ground and they grow them, and then they just lop it off. As you can see, it's been cut there, and then once they cut it off, that's got the thickness of the base, and then they leave it for a little while longer, probably one more season, to shoot out a couple of branches, and then they call it a bonsai and put it in a small pot. This is actually a bigger pot than it came in. Let's see if I've still got the pot. That was the size of the pot that it came in, and that's what they're going to call it, ligustrum, which is a privet. But yeah, I'm not overly I'm not overly impressed with this, to be honest with you. I mean, some people may look at it and say, oh, it's cute, okay, cool, but if you're someone who enjoys bonsai, this is the very basic form of life. But you know, I always give every plant a chance, so I've been lucky enough to be given plants, and this one is no exception. So I've repotted it into a bigger, slightly nicer looking pot. If you ask me, I like the colour of this pot, and he's going to spend his days up here on the shelf unless he gets in the way, in which case I'll find somewhere else. But you never know, I'll give him a chance and I'll maybe see if I can develop these branches and make him into something a little bit more attractive. But yeah, for me, I think a bonsai, if it's going to be a bonsai, it should be at least representative of one of the styles, and these are a little bit cynical in my opinion. They're mass produced, they're stuck in the ground, and most of the time they're sold in supermarkets and they don't last very long. Someone will buy them, spend too much money on them, and then they probably sit in the kitchen and last a few weeks before they dry out and die, which is a shame. But you can get good quality bonsai trees and make the most out of them. I don't even think this type of plant lends itself to it. As you can see, the leaves can grow quite big, which means the scale is going to be out of proportion. Anyway, I won't go on too long about it or else it'll end up being a video on its own. But there we are. That is the privet bush bonsai tree that's going to live up there, and I'll do an update if I can make it look a little bit better than it is, but you may say it looks nice. I think it's quite cute on its own, but as someone who enjoys bonsai, I can't really say it's doing a good job as being a bonsai. Okay, that's that. And here we've got some horticultural grit sand from the RHS Gardener's Selection. I put that when I'm making soil and putting soil together and I want it to be well drained. This sort of grit helps it drain better, so I'll add that to the potting soil mix, which is down there, and it helps it drain more. I also have perlite down there, which also is good to add to your potting mix to help drainage, and also if you're taking cuttings or something, you can actually plant it directly into perlite and it will help it. What it looks like, it's really weird stuff, really light. Yeah, and you can plant cuttings directly into that. There's no nutrients at all, it doesn't need it, and yeah, it's good for growing on cuttings. So that's it really. There's some old capillary matting here, which I'm just keeping. At some point I may use it again. The usual shed type stuff. We've got some teak oil, God knows what that is, some old varnish, and this is an old plant I've had in the house, which is really old now. I've had it for a long time. It's grown into a bit of a beast, and it dries out where it was. As you can see, some of those leaves are looking pretty nasty. What I might do is divide this up. You know, it's a good doer. I've had it for probably 3 or 4 years, and it just keeps producing these beautiful little flowers. So I may well, another one coming through there. So I may well do a video of, if you've got a bit of a tired houseplant looking like this, we can actually divide this and make probably 3 or 4 individual houseplants, cut them back a bit, get rid of the old knackered leaves, and probably regenerate it and make it into a nice houseplant. So I'll probably do that in another video. For now, can stay up there for now until I get a chance to do that. Another agave down here, again, sent that. Don't really like them, they take up so much space. Look at the size of the spikes that come out. They're all spiky. You get anywhere near them, they're going to stab you. I don't think they're that great looking, because when they're small they look great when they're sold, and then very quickly they don't stay small and they produce these huge leaves, and they're very difficult to find a place to keep because they just take up so much space. Anyway, so there's that. It's going to live there for now. We have over here some chili peppers that are growing on, and hopefully we'll have some nice chili peppers later on in the year. An echeveria that was one of my bathroom or toilet decoration plants. It's just got a bit out of hand, and I like them to sort of come off and overspill the pot. It looks really nice, but this is a bit much. So that's pretty much it, ladies and gents. I hope you've liked this quick look around of my potting shed. It's small but perfectly formed in my opinion. Yeah, I hope you like it. Give me a thumbs up if you have. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you very soon on the next video. Bye for now.